So the Argentina president,
Yeah.
pretty big deal, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I thought it was
He's shaking shit up down there.
shaking shit
I
up.
for sure thought he wasn't going to get elected when he didn't get the first election, and then they went to the runoff, and then I was like, they're going to do, I'm just like, they're going to do something shady here, and
It seemed like it.
It seemed like
a lot of people were saying that they didn't put the voting machines, so it's like they're actually
paper ballots.
They're doing paper ballots, so you actually get an honest count, an honest man's count.
We're not saying anything about that, YouTube. We're neither here nor there.
You're allowed to now. You
Are you?
Coachella, yeah.
Well, there's an election coming.
I got to be honest.
The problem, though, is there's an election coming up, so they're going to literally
They might
change that and then retroactively apply it all.
That's a fucking good point.
Yeah,
and by the way,
they're going to be like, hey, you're never allowed to have ever said that.
what'd you say about fucking hanging chats, bud? Once they said that it's allowed, it honestly wasn't that fun anymore.
Yeah.
Once they're like, just announcement to everyone. It's like a teacher being like, it is for the next minute, everyone's allowed to swear.
It's so weird.
And you're just like,
do you ever look at those? Do you ever look at those or get those YouTube they do for creators? They do like every week like a little video and they give updates. And then this week the update was like allowing more adult content, and so you can now monetize breastfeeding. And like it used to be that you couldn't monetize breastfeeding videos.
We should do. That would be funny. We should just start a breastfeeding reaction channel.
Dude, honestly, you're like,
we just react to breastfeeding.
You say that, but like that's actually probably if one of the fellas is watching this wants to make a fucking killing.
Just a breastfeeding reaction channel, and you're just sitting there eating milk,
just drinking milk. Just a big frosty glass.
That's so funny.
Dude, but literally they just changed it this week where they go, so you can now areolas are fine. Like, and they say in the video, they're like, areolas are totally fine.
Well, I guess my YouTube algorithm's screwed too, because I got a notification saying foreskin's good now.
But they're like, areolas are totally fine, but they're like, but the child does need to be present in the video. I'm like,
hey, I'll tell you what, it's the only nudity that's more acceptable with a kid there.
Yeah, sure.
They go, hey, you got the tits out on camera? You go, there's a baby here. You go, all right.
But like, these are the kind of things they're up to in their meetings at fucking YouTube right now.
Oh, no, right.
Is they're having these big debates are like, should we allow commercials on breastfeeding? And like, obviously all the guys are like, God, no, what? We don't allow commercials on a million things. And they're like, the chicks are like, it's natural. You have to. And then I don't know.
It's natural.
And then they just reach an agreement where they're like, yeah, I guess if the kid's in it, but I'm like, how could the kid not be in it? How's it breastfeeding? I guess they're just squirting like a squirt fight.
No, the kid's in it. The kid's sitting at the other side of the room and they're fountaining it.
Yeah. But he's off screen because you're like, I don't want to involve my kid in this.
Yeah. That's good shit. But. Yeah. So the Argentina president, for me, it was so crazy because like me and Danny both like went to school for economics or whatever, right? So it was very, very reminiscent to like his speeches is shit from like first year economics, and probably even honestly, it's even more bad boy than like.
Yeah,
I guess
well, he has a lot.
We went to like more Austrian more Keynesian. This is a straight up guy doing like speeches on Austrian economics. He's like, production is the only measure of an economy's strength. These people produce nothing. I will say though, because a lot of libertarian dudes are about him, and I was kind of like, you're kind of like, oh, it's just like he's in a band.
Yeah,
before
he's
he was
in
like
Rolling
a musician,
Stones cover band,
and then he's kind of like a libertarian dude, and I'm like, he's like me. And then I watch his things, and he's like, these fucking motherfuckers.
Oh yeah,
they need to die. They're trying to kill you. I go, well, maybe he's not exactly.
Yeah,
like
he's
me.
not really like me. I mean, I like his whole thing where he's like gonna get rid of all the bullshit, like,
buddy. Do you see him ripping up things?
Yeah,
first day on
every
the job.
single thing afuera.
He takes down the fucking women's department. Hiya!
Yeah.
The breastfeeding
council.
Breastfeeding council. Go.
All the diversity councils gone. Culture. But it's funny because, you hopefully.
The bureaucracy.
He doesn't go too far. He's like, Department of Motor Vehicles gone. You're like, all right, we might need that like a little bit though.
The Department of Department of making sure there's no feces.
Department of Justice gone. You go, all right, let's.
Wait, you're defunding the police now? Yeah, definitely. A little bit. He goes, the bureaucracy yourself out is what he told them. Yeah. But it was, you know what the thing is, and this is my kind of thesis of the next like a couple minutes about what I'm about to say, is that there's so many things that obviously it's a lot easier to sell people on shit like this when things are going bad, right? And I even a little bit
Crazy
see
inflation.
like liberty and stuff like that a lot of times as more of like a medicine.
Yeah.
You know, because you could never, when things are going good, you can't sell people on, oh yeah, we're gonna get rid of like entitlements. Like, okay, any welfare.
Well, they have extra money kicking around. That's
things have to be going bad to get people on board with this, and then it's kind of a spectrum. It's like, this things start going good, and people start being like, well, I want to taste. So
yeah, of course, and I mean they have extra money, and so you start. These are luxury things to have, like a head of diversity, whatever, and some, and they just all these.
It's people that don't have jobs to do, so they need to make them.
Well, they make jobs, and then they also just they have lots of money, so they go, hey, let's spread this around, lots of social services, but then you get so bloated and have hyperinflation and stuff, and they have to like get rid of all that stuff.
And you're seeing you're seeing the bloating everywhere, and that's why I have some examples of it. But I was thinking that it kind of is hopefully he does a good job, because if in 5 years this economy is like really in shit and everything's worse, it'd be like, do you remember in Canada the NDP, which was kind of like the socialist one?
Yeah,
they basically were in charge of one of the states, and essentially they did such a bad job, and they sold off the highway and all this.
Wasn't it Alberta? Yeah, didn't they like get a?
No, in Ontario they sold off. They sold off the highway, and like legitimately no one's forgotten about it. Like they've never been forgiven.
Well, it's because it's one of those.
It was almost like that's the end of them ever winning ever again.
Yeah, it's because they spend they spend like $1 billion on a highway, and then they just go sell it for like $300 million, and you're like, sick deal, guys.
And everyone's always reminded, because it's one of the highways that people would drive to work, and every day you drive by and they're like $25, and you're just like,
yeah.
So if this guy really shits the bed, that's probably the end of candidates like that.
I think
for a long
if
time.
that guy really shits the bed where Argentina's at, that's just the end of Argentina. So it's almost like you kind of can't.
Well, yeah,
because there's I mean, he only got elected because things are so bad that everybody probably threw their hands up.
He looks like he's from the 70s. This guy.
Yeah, he's got the weird, like, what was it? Like the Beatle kind of haircut?
He's got the Beatles haircut.
Beatles haircut kind of, with like the big pork chops, like the mutton.
That's exactly what he's got.
Mutton chops or whatever. But, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure how much damage he can do. I know he wants to instantly get rid of the peso and go dollarize their economy. I don't know how easy that is.
Every time I have pesos, I want to get rid of them too.
Yeah, I think everybody does. But he wants to like change it so that they use the US dollar there.
I heard that.
Yeah, but everybody said, because they're like, because he goes like, because he doesn't like the federal central banks and they can print money. But you're like, but the US has their own central bank that they're gonna print money, and now you don't even control it. You don't even have any say in that. That's your dollar. And they can just do whatever they want with it, and you just use it. I guess it's more stable than their currency, so they go.
It seems like there's not very much that's not more stable than their currency. I mean, the full version would be if he goes, we're going Bitcoin, but that's had not worked great for the other guy.
No, that's not gonna. Yeah, I don't know.
But there's kind of like, with every problem, I think there's two types of people, and it probably is a little bit masculine and feminine or whatever, but you go, people who think that they can innovate their way out of problems, and people think that they can regulate their way out of problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can even see, it's like, if you say global warming, whatever you think about it, half the people are like, hey, we're going to solve this with like new innovations and new technology and stuff like that. And the other people that'll be like, we'll regulate.
Yeah.
And it's such a microcosm of the two different sides of everything.